Hi guys, it's me, the King, and today something very interesting happened, which I'm going to mention. The Big House tournament got canceled by Nintendo of America. It got cease and desisted, more accurately, so the whole event was canceled. Big House released a statement on Twitter, which I'm now going to read. The Big House is heartbroken to share we've received a cease and desist from Nintendo of America Incorporated to cancel our upcoming online event. We were informed we do not have permission to host or broadcast the event, primarily due to the uses of Slippy. Sadly, all our competitions are affected. We are forced to comply with the order and cancel the Big House online for both Melee and Ultimate. Refund information will be sent shortly. We apologize for all those impacted. For those wondering what Slippy is basically what everybody uses to play Melee online. I'm sure you all heard of the Melee rollback that came out months ago. Well, rollback is basically, instead of delay-based netcode, which Ultimate and many other games use, Slippy uses rollback netcode, which allows the experience to simulate a CRT of offline in many connections. So you can very closely simulate an offline connection in a large amount of online matches. This is basically the best we'll ever have to simulating real life, and it is widely liked by community. Even somebody like myself, who's very skeptical of online input delay, finds it to be very good overall. Many other events use Slippy, such as Summit, my own series, the Frame Perfect series online events that I do like every month or so, and many other events. Like the vast majority of events use online for Slippy. Like almost every Melee Online event uses Slippy. So I wonder why the Big House specifically was affected. So my opinion is that it's probably because it was the first big Nintendo partnered event. So what does Nintendo partnered mean? As far as I know, that means Nintendo of America, I believe they tweeted out and they have their logo on it and possibly more. When a company puts their logo on something, they have to approve of everything, especially if they're the developer. So reading Big House's statement, based on what they said, which is, we were informed we do not have permission to host or broadcast the event, primarily due to the uses of Slippy. So based on that, it feels to me like they probably didn't ask permission ahead of time. Like they probably didn't be like, hey Nintendo, this is what Slippy is, can we please use this? It feels like that most likely didn't happen, probably. So that's my take from the way that this was worded. Now, I'm not saying that's a fact, but that's what it seems like based on the wording here. Even though events like Big House were affected, we can't say for certain what else would be affected. Could it just be Nintendo partnered events in the future? Who knows? I'm leaning toward probably yes, maybe. It's hard to say, but it's not like Summit came out the same day with a cease and desist. It's not like anyone else came out in a cease and desist. Is it coincidence or not? I guess we don't know, but time will tell. But that's what I definitely think that that's a pretty big variable, a pretty big factor, being Nintendo partnered or not, in my opinion. It's not like Slippy got canceled. It was just specifically, coincidence or not, the Nintendo partnered event that got affected. So if you want my opinion on the whole thing, it's rather disappointing. It's disappointing, but at the same time, it's also not unexpected based on previous patterns. And what I mean by previous patterns is that in the past, Nintendo has shut down ROMs and ROM sites. They've shut down fan-made games. There's also, Evo 2013. I was actually involved with a big part of actually getting the donations for that, so I was very involved in that. But then, when I was on the plane, I remember being on the plane going to Evo 2013, and the event almost got canceled, and then Nintendo got pressured to reverse what they said. And they got canceled, and then Nintendo's like, okay, we changed our minds. We got uncanceled because they were being pressured, basically. So you never really know what's gonna happen with that. But yeah, what I'm basically saying is Nintendo's shown, especially they also shut down PM and stuff. So they've shown that they don't really they're very strict on the legal stuff. If you do a fan-made project or do something that's technically illegal, even slightly, their legal team in Japan or America or whatever, we don't know all the details, but they've shown a history and pattern of doing that. That's why, to me, it's not super unexpected. Because they also did that with UCF, with the Universal Control Fix, and then Arduinos and other things. They just don't like that type of stuff. So if it's a Nintendo partnered event specifically, then I feel like that's also another factor. I personally think, if I was working at Nintendo or I had a higher position of power, I would tell them, hey, I get that you can legally do this, and I understand your point of view. And who knows, with the legal system or just the chain of power and, Japan, America, it might just be one guy's decision. It might just be one legal loophole, or just that, we don't know all the details. So I don't like to judge too much. However, at the same time, if I did have like a high position of power or a very high position of influence in affecting these decisions, I would definitely try to use like my power and influence, for what I believe in, which is that overall, this is just a bad decision for all parties. Basically, not the community loses from this, and they're just hurting. I get the competitive community is like 1%, right? Compared to like 90% of casuals. But it's not like Nintendo like gains anything by doing this. In fact, they just makes them look kind of like, it just makes them look bad. So even if there's on the surface, even if the legal issues aren't, like, it's more complex than we think, from what most of us see, it doesn't reflect well on them, and it doesn't help. It just doesn't help anybody. I don't see how anybody wins from this. I feel like they should just allow it, and that's it. I mean, like, why specifically the online Slippy part? Like, then why not just, if they want to get rid of Melee, just ban Melee from the events? Like, why not just go that route? Why specifically the online Slippy route? I mean, I get it. There's a lot of unknowns. Like, it's not technology they're using. So I understand both perspectives, but my opinion is still by far leaning toward that. I would hope that they would like consider, if not for this, but in the near future, to reverse their decisions, or at least like change their philosophies and be more open-minded on these topics. So, because I think like it would just be good for Melee as a whole. It doesn't hurt anybody. It's literally just a lose-lose for all parties, what they're currently doing, in my personal opinion. It's not like they're losing money out of doing this. Like, it's not like they're gaining money from doing this. Like, I don't see how they gain. And maybe there is something that they think they gain, but I don't see it. Also, at this point, there's actually been another update that I just found after recording the first part of the video. So, well, since this just came in, I'm just going to read the new update statement, which is basically a statement from Nintendo. I couldn't find the source, but the source is apparently polygon.com. Anyway, they say that Nintendo responded with the following statement, and I'm just going to read the statement. Nintendo appreciates the love and dedication the fighting game community has for the Super Smash Bros. Series. We have partnered with numerous Super Smash Bros. Tournaments in the past, and have hosted our own online and offline tournaments for the game, and we plan to continue that support in the future. Unfortunately, the upcoming Big House tournament announced plans to host an online tournament for Super Smash Bros. Melee that requires use of an illegally copied versions of the game in conjunction with a mod called Slippy during their online event. Nintendo therefore contacted the tournament organizers to ask them to stop. They refused, leaving Nintendo no choice but to step in to protect its intellectual property and brands. Nintendo cannot condone or allow piracy of its intellectual property. So, make of that what you will. There's no official source that I found from, I couldn't find it from like Nintendo Twitter that I saw, but according to Polygon.com, that's Nintendo's response, or Nintendo responding with the statement. So, just adding that in. Alright guys, obviously this is pretty big news. So yeah, I tried to understand both sides, but at the same time I wanted to give my honest thoughts, so that's what I wanted to explain. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of my opinion of the video and what you guys think of this whole situation. I hope it does turn out good for the future, because, I like Melee a lot. I care about that stuff from a lot of perspectives, so I really hope this ends up going well. So let me know. And before you leave, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thanks for watching.